What's up, everybody? This is All the Way Down, episode 34. I'm your host, Invictus Knox. This is
Dash Retro is me. Hello, how's it going?
that's Dash. That's Dash. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing quite well. I've got some life news that's happened in the past little bit, but first of all, happy Easter. It's Easter today.
Dude, I wouldn't have even known if I didn't get on Twitter today. It's wild.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I had to be reminded at least in the last couple days, but my family is a big Easter family, so
Oh yeah.
I went over to the parents' house and did Easter family visiting kind of stuff. But not you. No Easter festivities for your family.
We used to be a pretty big Easter family. We used to do like a gathering with the egg hunt and all the whole shebang, but everyone's pretty much moved away. And at this point, like half of us are in Florida and half of us are in North Carolina, and I'm still in Virginia. So,
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a little while, right, where like the egg hunt kind of idea was a little outdated, but now enough of like my cousins and I have kids that are old enough where, now it's kind of back, right? We've got like a decent number of children once again. And so, yeah, the egg hunt is back. Um,
Yeah, and I'm childless, so it's 100% like it's 100% to do with whether or not kids are in your life.
yeah, right.
Where does that come from, though? That gets me thinking about like the word Easter egg in video games is always to denote something that was put there but was not necessarily meant to be found by easy eyes. It's like a little bit of a bonus piece of information, but like
Right.
an egg hunt is an intended event. You go to it to look for it. You don't just find Easter eggs. You don't just find
That
eggs in the wild.
That's true. Yeah, I guess I mean the intended event I suppose is the game itself, right? Like,
Pretty much.
the I guess you can go on an Easter egg hunt in a game if you want, but yeah, I guess I never really thought about that
I
so
guess
much.
playing a video game, I guess, is the going to a hunt. But still, I don't know. I thought it was weird how Easter egg was the word that was used for that, because it's such a like. I get that it's like I'm hiding this here, but at the same time, why did Easter egg come about in video game terminology? Like I don't know. Maybe fuck it. There's achievement hunters, but that's different.
Right. Oh yeah, I hear you. And also Easter egg has been a term for a lot longer than achievement has been.
Has it?
Oh yeah, I mean achievements were Xbox 360 was like when they were new.
Well, yeah. So I'm thinking like achievements. Like I mean, shit, that is a good thing to think about. I mean, there's definitely like goals in video games that are
Yeah.
optional.
Yeah,
But
actually this is kind of a funny topic because I sort of lament the idea of a system level achievement, because games yeah, this is something I'm sure everybody's already heard someone say. But I remember when Ratchet and Clank had something called skill points, right? It was a menu, it was an extra menu in the game, like it was under the extras of here is a list of just the names of the skill points, right? It
mhm.
might have told you what planet they were on also, like what level they were in, but all you got was the title of what is the skill point called, And they were all something that was like an achievement would be now, like get through this room using the grappling hook and never touching the ground, or like get through this level doing this kind of thing. And sometimes in the game it would just say, hey, you got a skill point. Awesome. And what they actually did was they unlocked some, well, I was gonna say Easter eggs, but I guess they're not really
Yeah, you don't
that.
really unlock Easter eggs. You just find
Right.
them.
Yeah, they just unlocked some bonuses that were things like a behind the scenes dev video, right? Or like a, maybe like a model viewer or something like that. I don't think it was that specifically. I don't remember exactly what it was specific. Well, one thing that I remember that it was specifically with Ratchet and Clank was that game had very good advertising. Like the commercials for it were super funny, and the commercials you could unlock in the game to watch. So just to be like, oh, here's the silly commercial that was for the game.
I
Um,
remember them. They were kind of like the 50s, 60s exaggerated versions of like old American advertisements, but in space, that kind of thing.
What I remember the Ratchet and Clank commercials being was it was like they were testing out the weapons. It was like
Oh, okay.
live action. Ah, we got the Devastator. We're gonna test it, and they test fire it, they miss the target, and it blows up the building behind the target, and like that kind of thing. They were comedic, right? And back in a time where you didn't see as many ads for video games in general, so seeing one that was like also funny was, a funny thing. And yeah, it was enough to where they included it in the game as an unlockable. But my whole point here is that they unlocked something in the game. They unlocked some kind of bonus for you, But now achievements are, when it's with the 360, when they put it system level,
Yeah,
now
it's
it's
actually
something
built
that
into it.
yeah, so now it's something that the developers have to put in the games, right? Whether it's inspired or not, and it doesn't do anything,
Oh
right?
my
It just
god. Yeah, and that's actually I was talking about this recently about how you see speedrunners still becoming like it's a growing category. But achievement hunting is like down in my opinion. Like achievement hunting there was a whole comedy channel on YouTube dedicated to achievement hunting called Achievement Hunter, but that they base their content off of, hunting achievements. But it's like exactly what you just said. What do you get out of it other than, in most cases, like a Steam achievement or just like a platinum trophy or something like that? It's, you have to be a completionist for that sort of thing to be. And thinking about it from like a game like a game developer's perspective, how annoying must it be to just fucking have to program achievements for like have to program? Do they have
yeah.
to? I don't know if they have to.
I imagine they have to. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah.
Sony at least is pretty well. Yeah, I mean, I think every Xbox 360 game, like the not only did they have to, but like the point value always added up to 2,000. I think was the deal. Like every game had to be worth 2,000 points if you did everything.
Yeah,
Um,
but like at a certain point, it almost waters down the entire reason it was created. Because if you have all these developers just kind of phoning in the achievements because they don't think their game is one of those games where you really hunt for achievements, you kind of just get achievements like do the tutorial,
Yeah, and
finish
that's
chapter
absolutely what
1.
happened. So I used to work at a video game retailer that shall be unnamed, and there were definitely a lot of like there were a group of people that would buy games specifically because they've heard that this game has a really easy list of achievements.
Huh.
You're right. So they would buy, I think like Avatar. There was like some Avatar, The Last Airbender game that was notorious for having only one achievement that you could get in 10 minutes, and boom, there's your 2,000 gamer score,
Wow,
right?
man,
And
this is like this is like such a weird microcosm in time that I think is already ended, and I don't know if we'll see it again anywhere. It's like it's such a point in time where people cared about their gamer score, or they
right.
cared how many trophy, or like, oh my god, people are hunting games for like, oh, I heard it's easy to get my gamer fucking profile up to score with this game. Oh my god.
Yeah, I do think that trophies will last longer because, like, to me, the amount of gamer score you have is such like a nebulous, arbitrary thing that like it doesn't mean anything once it gets up to a certain number,
But
right?
it's all
When you're
ultimately
up,
on your profile picture, right? Like it's like not an in-game thing. It's not like I have items that I can equip to make my character look cool. It's hey, when you're looking through your friends list to see if I've been online in Call of Duty Warzone, it'll have this little little change of pixels in the corner of the profile picture. It's like,
yeah,
what are
but
you actually getting?
even more than that, though, if your gamer score is 100,000, people don't know whether that means that you 100%ed 50 games or if you played a little bit of 200 games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there's not even any information to glean from the number, right? But with trophies, there is at least the fact that the platinum trophy means that they got all the trophies. And so you can just count your platinums. You can at least see, oh, I've got 10 platinum trophies, and that at least gives you some amount of information.
Take this service, this use case, I guess, if you will, and try to explain it to people like 20 years prior. and
Mm-hmm.
and like see like the look of confusion on people's faces that you would be bragging about things that get you get you wedgies and shit in high school, or not high school, I guess, but elementary. You get bullied for like carrying, like, oh my god, I beat this game with these achievements in this amount of time, like that gamer culture. I think is like super new to where it's like all these, I don't know, all these small things are getting tried.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that like I I do think that trophies will last a little bit longer as far as what
Probably.
people care about because of that. Um, but yeah, I mean, as far as what it boils down to nowadays, as far as Steam or Xbox or PlayStation, wherever you're getting these things, really, it for me, it's a thing where if I really, really, really like a game, and then I look at the list of achievements that I don't have, and they sound fun to go for, then I'll go for them. And in that case, I think that they are still good, where it gives you an idea for a type of playthrough or something that you might not have had. Like speed runs themselves are just an unwritten achievement, right? Or people
Yeah.
doing hitless runs of Dark Souls or something, right? People are looking for extra challenges to play their favorite games over and over again. But that's the thing though, is that like generally the community will come up with better achievements than what the game actually asks for, you know?
Exactly. It's like people are going to be able to come up with, if a game is fun and just has endless replay value, people are going to do whatever the fuck they can in it to give you any kind of like, man, like Counter-Strike had surfing servers where you just I think you just kind of like rode along a specific jagged edge of geometry, and then the way that the source engine worked made it so you could kind of follow it, and you could kind of like ski with like a slope, and it was like a race car, like a fucking Hot Wheel tracks people are building in servers that are just absolutely not Counter-Strike, Team Fortress
Yeah.
2 did this too, where you had
Yep.
surfing servers too, where like you had to like run down a big slope, and I think you got shot up. It was crazy, but it, that's community driven, of course. Steam's not going to come up with that, or Valve. They're not going to make that shit.
Yeah, yeah. And like something like Super Mario Bros. People have done like, collect all coins or like walk only, right? Like a walkathon where you have to get through the whole game
Is
without
that
running.
possible?
Uh, yes. However, the final jump to get to Bowser, in the final castle, the last jump over the lava pit. I think this is if you take warps, as in like you take the warp zones. The very last jump in front of Bowser is too far to jump without running, unless you do a wall jump, which is like a speed run specific or very special exploit in the game. It's not an intended mechanic.
Yeah, but what you're
Um,
saying is it's this very challenging maneuver that happens at the end of the run.
yeah, it's
That's terrible.
literally the last jump is the only one that you have to do it for.
Trash the run.
Um,
Well, I'm sure a game that old has probably got a pretty quick time for speed running, but still, like imagine throwing the whole run away at the end.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean the speed run where you're allowed to run for that game is like 4:55, 4:54 or something like that. It's under 5 minutes.
Damn.
So I don't know how long it takes to walk
Yeah.
through the game, but at least 10 minutes.
Oh, probably. God. Yeah, what's it? It's like if you think about it in terms of movement speed is double if you run. I don't know if it's actually double, but
Yeah, I think it's a lot more than double. I'm not positive though.
mm.
But yeah, I also wonder if you're able to walk through the entire game warpless though. I'm sure if you don't take warps, there's probably a few more gaps that are too big to jump over, but
It
I'm
made
not
sense when
positive.
you said warp because you kind of have. I mean, I would assume there are levels where you have to run to make a jump. I know there are. So it's like you have to be able to skip over them, I guess, maybe. And
Yeah,
maybe you
maybe
have
I'll
to
have to
take
try
certain
it
like
sometime.
patterns of warp too. Like you have to take warp zone 2 and then you have to take warp zone 7 and or just don't take warp zone this level at all or something like that.
Yeah, I mean Mario 2 actually has some like the vegetable throwing one has some interesting things with like the
I
warp path.
I'm sorry. I was gonna ask which one, and then as soon as you said the vegetable throwing one, I've never heard that before, but I immediately knew which one you were talking about because I was
Oh,
like,
well,
"Well,
yeah.
it wouldn't make sense otherwise." Yeah.
But yeah, that one's got a weird warp path on it. But yeah, I don't think that the first one has that kind of thing going on.
I was
Well,
surprised
I
at how
mean,
good that game is. Like, I mean, I know it's technically Puyo Puyo, but like as a
you mean
Mario
Doki
game,
Doki?
yeah, Puyo, yeah, Doki Doki. It's not Panic. Doki Doki.
Yeah, Doki Doki
Doki
Panic.
Panic. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so not the one that's Literature Club. Yeah,
Right.
but that one, I was surprised that like as a Mario game, when I first played as a kid, it felt very different because of the graphics and all the
Hmm.
vegetables. That was obviously a totally different thing, but it worked really well
Oh
for
yeah,
being
I
a
love
race
that game.
game. Yeah.
It's a fantastic game.
Mm-hmm.
Great graphics, great soundtrack, multiple playable characters, they all got different abilities, and like the you can get through the levels in a different way depending on what character you are,
Was that
Like
the
on
first time
this,
you got to play Peach?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, and there was tons of cool stuff that was like, if you're this character, they can make this jump, but if you're this character, you got to go this way, but they're a little faster at doing this part, and
Mm.
yeah, it's such a cool game. Love it.
Hmm. So your time has been spent unknowingly to me until the very last bit of your run playing Tomb Raider.
That's right. After Tomb Raider: Angel of Darkness was the first Tomb Raider game I played through, due to our mutual friend Camel. I
Mm-hmm.
finally got around to playing the original Tomb Raider on PS1. And yeah, the short version is it's fantastic.
It's
I
much
loved it.
better than Angel of Darkness.
It was a lot better than Angel of Darkness, yeah. I do still think that the controls were rather clunky, but they were clunky in a way that made a lot more sense than Angel of Darkness.
Hmm.
But yeah, overall, like broad strokes, what is Tomb Raider, and like what kind of game is it? It's really up my alley. It's like exactly the kind of game that I like, I think, where
Okay.
it puts it drops you in a level, right, and you have a goal to get through the level. um they no they're It's really not bogged down in too much story or exposition, or even like, well, one thing I really like is that there's pretty much no talking or exposition in a level. It's all like story beats that happen between levels. And so when you're in a level, the game is extremely like respectful of the player's ability to get through it, where they just drop you in, and your goal is that, there are levers here that do something there. There's
What do you mean by extremely respectful of the a player's ability to get through it?
like the Lara doesn't talk out loud to tell you about the puzzles. You don't have to
Mm.
stop and have a cutscene like stop everything and show you how something works or anything like that.
So you mean
Right.
respectful in a way that someone approaching a game who probably knows what they're doing a little bit, kind of, they're not bothering you. So in other words, like if you're playing Uncharted, because I always draw the Tomb Raider Uncharted comparison,
Mhm.
if you just sit still, like idle for like I don't know, like 2 or 3 minutes, your camera will kind of like nudge to the direction that you need to be going, be like give you a little
Yeah.
sound cue, like, and then Nate goes, "Hey, maybe I should try and go up there or something." Like
Right,
he
right.
he won't say something that blunt, but he'll actually, the voice lines are written well enough in that game to where it
Yeah, it'll be like,
passes.
Sully will be like, "Nathan, get your ass over here."
Yeah, yeah.
Something like that going on.
Nothing like that going
Yeah.
on with Laura.
Right. With Tomb Raider, the game is like the game expects me to be an observant player and to fiddle with things and figure out how it works. So what happens is you'll enter a level, and basically there's just only so many ways to go. You might see like there might be like 3 doors that you can get to. And the levels are kind of like they're pretty varied, but overall, it's sort of a Indiana Jonesy adventure kind of thing where, you might be in the sewers, and you got to get through the sewer level, or now we're actually in Egypt and we're in the pyramid, right? And there's puzzles in it, and that kind of thing, right? The each level is quite different. Some levels is basically just traverse through it, while other levels is solve the puzzle. And either way, it's really good. I mean, you're platforming, you're solving puzzles. There's combat where, like, sometimes, a bear or a tiger or something comes out, and now you're shooting at stuff and trying not to get killed. There's booby traps, with all of these puzzles and that kind of stuff. And yeah, so it's just all of these elements are just fun video game things, jump through the obstacle course, shoot at the enemies, solve the puzzles, avoid the traps, get the treasure, get the keys, open the doors, move on,
Yeah.
and it's all up to you to, like, observe everything and figure everything out.
So it doesn't
And
hold
yeah,
your hand, is what you're saying.
not at all, and I loved it for that because, yeah, a lot of the levels were pretty confusing. There was some confusing stuff, but it was just the right amount, where it was really fun to figure out and get through.
Yeah.
Um, so my points of criticism would mostly come from the first is what I said a second ago, where the controls are a little clunky.
I was gonna ask,
Where,
do you have
like,
like tank controls in that game?
you do have tank controls, and that's the thing the clunkiness of the controls kind of works because the game is very setup based, in that, like, when you look at a level, you can see behind the scenes. You can see the matrix a little bit in the
You see the
levels.
wireframes.
Yeah, where, like, you can tell that everything is based on, like, a tile set, Like, this platform is 1 tile large, and it's 2 tiles away from the next platform and that kinda thing. And when you do the hop back move with Lara, she hops back 1 tile's worth,
Cool.
And,
I was gonna
like,
ask because like how are the physics? Because the physics in Angel of Darkness were god awful.
I'm not sure what exactly you mean by
So
the
when
physics.
so in Angel of Darkness, if I hit circle to jump, approximately 8 minutes later, Laura will jump in whatever given direction you might have had the thumbstick pointed in that time, and it may be an overhead jump, it may be like a sidestep, or it may be a character pivots to the right.
Okay, yeah.
And all three of those things can happen within this within the span of a couple seconds.
Yeah. So one thing that the original does a lot better that Angel of Darkness fucked up was the fact that the original doesn't use the analog stick. It's tank controls and it's with a D-pad. So you're not gonna get those, like, accidental side flips into the middle of nowhere, because you have to be deliberate with the D-pad. It does, however, have the problem where it's like when you press jump, she doesn't just jump. It, like, waits until her next foot lands, and then it jumps off of her foot. You
Huh.
know what I mean? So, like, there's this priority on the animations looking good that makes
Yeah.
the jumps feel super clunky.
I was gonna
And
say this game has a lot. Like when I look at the way Laura kind of just like her movements before she jumps and then she springs and then she lands with a spring, it's like it reminds me a lot of like how Virtua Fighter, which is a Sega 3D fighting arcade game at the time, it had a lot of fucking. It was just 3 buttons, but it was all motion based, and so it made it hyper realistic in how you could move in a 3D space. It seems like even looking at the game, like you said, animation takes priority over actual input because you have to wait almost for, like in fighting games, what we would call recovery frames, for an animation to play out and finish before you can input again. Is that what you're kind of referring to, where it's like you feel like you gotta wait for her to just kind of get settled in and then you can do the next thing?
yeah, what it really manifests itself as is a game where you can't, like, it's not Mario.
Mm-hmm.
As in, like, you can't just run at a ledge and time your square press, square is jump, and, like, time your square press to leap right off the edge, and stuff like that. You don't have, like, a flow where you flow from one jump to the next, really. At least not at a beginner level. I'm sure the speedrunners can do it, but, like, for me, it was a, like, I want to jump there's two gaps, right? Like it's a gap and then a platform and then a gap and then another platform. It becomes a thing where you run up to the edge, stop, walk up to the edge so that you're as close as possible to it without falling off. Then press down to hop back 1 tile's worth,
Oh,
so that then you can press forward and then start holding square after the first step, so that she goes 1 step, 2 step, and then jumps off that foot, and that gives you the biggest jump, right?
wait, okay, so do you preemptively press and hold square and then release it for the jump?
No, you just keep it held.
Okay.
But yeah, you press it early because she's going to do it when that foot lands, you know? Because when you do the 1 hop back, I mentioned that that's like 1 tile's worth, and then 2 of her steps is 1 tile's worth. So it's like stop, walk to the edge, hop back, run forward, jumping off the second step, and then release all the buttons in the air so that when she lands, she just stops. Because otherwise, if you're holding anything, who knows what the fuck's going to happen? She might jump
it'll
again.
read as an input, yeah.
Yeah, she might run off the edge, something like that. So just like release all the buttons and then she lands on the next platform. Okay, do it again. Walk to the next edge, hop back, hold forward, jump, start holding square at some point so she jumps at the right time. And then maybe this time you have to hold X while you're in the air. That makes her like grab a ledge. If there's a grabbable ledge, you have to hold X for her to do that. So yeah, it becomes very setup based, you know. Every jump is like sort of this borderline pain in the ass, like do this clunky setup, you know, to do it. But the way that the game is designed with this with these clear tiles and how far away is everything, it all works out, you know. Like it doesn't feel terrible. It's not like Angel of Darkness where you do everything right, it feels like, but then she just like does some wacky thing and side jumps off into a pit or something, you know.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
Okay, good.
But it is still pretty slow and deliberate and setup based.
I was going to say, I was in your chat when you actually beat the game, which congrats, cool. Congratulations. Happy for you. I want to do the same actually, because so for a little context, everyone, Dash and I have kind of the unique perspective of Tomb Raider, where we started with a game that was just dog shit on a bet to see how far we could get, and I'm willing to bet most people probably played Tomb Raider, if at all, they're probably playing it from like the 360 or like the new version, you know, coming into the old, or they started from the very beginning, which is the game we're talking about now. So it's like we have that weird like comparison that we're drawing just to see how bad, realistically, how bad a game it could be much later on in the series compared to where the series starts, which is kind of embarrassing, I guess, to say.
Right. Yeah. The first one is a lot better than, I mean, Angel of Darkness is like, not to talk too much about it because we have an entire episode about it already. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, my takeaway from that game was like, it was close to being great, but like there were just some extreme fundamental flaws on top of it being horribly unfinished that made it like very, very bad.
Yeah. And I was saying, I was in your chat, and another quick thing, I saw you playing it with the non-DualShock controller. Props on that. I think that's badass. I want to do that with the same way too. But also in your chat, I noticed that when son of a bitch, I had it. Oh no, it was another person in your chat. I can't remember who it was. They made a comparison of the game, and I never really could like understand how Tomb Raider kind of like a way to describe how Tomb Raider plays out until he said, or they said, I'm not sure who it was, but they said I hear Tomb Raider takes a lot of inspiration from Prince of Persia, and I was like, oh shit. This game is literally just 3D Prince of Persia. It makes perfect sense now, because Prince of Persia is okay, we're not talking even the Sands of Time on PS2. We're talking OG Prince of Persia. It's like a very physics, like slow, rumbly, like the physics of the moment, not like everything going on at once, but like you controlling one character, of which there are multiple limbs that you have to account for the forward momentum of. You can't jump too hard because then you might roll forward and then fall to your death or stuff like that. So I was like, oh shit. Now I kind of get exactly what Tomb Raider's gameplay is about. the physics of actually going through all this.
Yeah, like it's really important to properly size up your jumps in the game because, you can over jump and you can under jump, right? Particularly one thing that always kind of annoyed me is that, like, let's say there's a ledge that you're trying to jump up to and grab, like you're gonna jump and grab this ledge. If the ledge is close, like it's closer than maybe you're thinking it is, and you do like the hop back 2 steps for a full jump setup that I was talking about, she'll hit it too hard and bounce off of it,
Yeah.
and fall down, right? Which is like super annoying when that happens. And okay, it turns out that this one is the setup where you need to walk up to it, stop, and then just jump from there, and her little jump will make it perfectly.
So do you have to assess these by experience only, or is it like a thing you can eyeball?
I think you can eyeball it, but it's a little exhausting to have to. But yeah, I mean, at least I think it is something that, like I was saying, you can, the way that the game is put together, like you can definitely come up with some measurements in your head of like how far do each of the different jump types exactly take you, and predict things, but I definitely made the mistake a lot of over jumping into walls and hitting them, and it was annoying.
I mean, how much time does it actually? Well, I guess if the whole game is jumping. If you're taking 1/5 of your time just recovering from over jumping, that's probably going to take a lot of time over time.
Right, and like it depends on the jump too.
Yeah.
Some jumps you miss it and you fall down to the bottom of the room that it took you 5 minutes to climb up to.
Fuck.
Sometimes it's that.
It's so demoralizing.
Right. While other times it's just try it again and you're fine.
You said that, and I had Angel of Darkness flashbacks.
Right. So yeah, I mean, there's some of that in there, but like I'm saying though, it does always feel in this one, it's never like an accident that it happened. It's always just, oh shit, that's a shorter jump. I need to do a smaller one. And then you go up and you do a smaller one and you're fine. So
you can't save scum it. You can't just F5 it. Not
so. That actually brings me up to one of my favorite things about the game, which was the save system. So I don't know how it was on PC. I think it's different on PC, but I played it on PlayStation, right? Original version on PlayStation. And the way that it works is there are crystals strewn about the level, most of them in significant spots. And when you reach a save crystal, you can have one save from it and then it's gone. Like, imagine in Resident Evil, right? Imagine every typewriter in Resident Evil only had one ink ribbon.
I haven't played Resident Evil, but
okay,
yeah, no. Imagine Final Fantasy. Like, imagine the save point just going away. Holy shit!
After you save once, it goes away.
Yeah.
So it creates this system of like every time that you get to one, awesome, that's your new checkpoint. I made it to the checkpoint. I saved. The save point is now gone, but it's my checkpoint. I load here every time now, or you can choose to say I'm going to save this one for a minute. I'm going to go into the next room and see what's in there, and then maybe I'll do something and then come back and
make
save
a path
or something
back
like
to
that.
It,
yeah.
Assess the risk.
Yeah. Most of the time it kind of just feels like a checkpoint system where it's like, okay, I reached the crystal, boom, I saved, awesome, that's my new checkpoint. That's what it is most of the time. But sometimes there is a little bit of risk reward to it as well. And I thought that was awesome. I thought it was a really, really great save system.
I haven't seen it since, so
yeah, well, I think it's better than your average checkpoint system, mainly because it's really clear when it happens. Like one thing that is that I think breaks immersion in games is when you don't know where your checkpoint is going to be. You die and you're like, oh no, I died, and then you spawn and you're like, oh, this is the checkpoint. Okay, that's a very immersion breaking experience, I think.
When you see where the checkpoint is?
Yeah, like when you die and then you learn at your point of respawning where the
Ah,
checkpoint
okay,
is, you know.
okay, yeah, I
It's
get
not
you.
terrible. I'm not gonna ream on that design, you
It's a
know. I'm
point
just
of yeah, I get you.
but like, yeah, I like it a lot more when you see the checkpoint and you're able to internalize right now there's a little bit of pressure off of you
Uh
because
huh.
it's like, boom,
Okay.
I got it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that more. And that yeah, and that's what and that's what the crystal system does in Tomb Raider. So
And
yeah, I
speaking of that, at least in a JRPG sense, I'm not going to talk too much about this, but holy shit, I've been playing Legend of Dragoon, and man, is it fucking nice to know when you're about to have an encounter, to see an encounter. Like that game has the system of where you have it's basically like you're playing Minesweeper while you're playing the game, where you have like a dot over your head that gets more and more red the more like close you are to an encounter, but like even just having that is a huge relief. So I totally get seeing your save point being a huge point of stress relief as well, rather than just wondering where you vaguely might end up.
yeah, yeah. And that's interesting that that game has that system. Shin Megami Tensei also does that. It lets
What?
you know like when a random encounter is
Mm,
near.
yeah.
Um but yeah,
No other
so I
games that
really
you can think of that use that save point system though, where it just goes away after the first.
I mean, the closest thing I can think of is ink ribbons from Resident Evil, but that's way
Mm,
different because that's like ink ribbons are a currency that can be used on any save point. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like Ari has save points strewn about, and ink ribbons are a currency that can be used at any one of them. You know, it's not like one just goes away.
You
So
know an
it's
interesting
different.
thing about Tomb Raider. It's the first game I think I played where I drove a boat. I'm pretty sure.
Drove a boat. Are you talking about Angel of Darkness
No,
again?
no, 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 no. Okay, it was a PlayStation 1 Tomb Raider, but it was a demo disc, so it was a specific segment of a level where there's a boat. So maybe it might not even be the first game, it might be the second or third. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think so. The only boat I can think of in the first one, it was like a tiny little tugboat, and there's a lever that's like on the other side of the level that if you pull the lever, it moves the tugboat like 10 feet, and then you can
Mm-mm.
come back and you can use it as a platform, and that's it. That's the only boat experience from what I remember.
Okay, this might be two or three then, because you're actually you're in like a canal system. I don't want to call it
Okay.
Venice, but you're driving a boat in town, in a very empty town, where the streets are water. So.
This sounds familiar to me. I think that this might be Tomb Raider 2, and it
Mhm.
might also be the reason that I grew up thinking that Tomb Raider was super boring and stupid. Because like I had a Tomb Raider demo, you know, when I was younger, and I
Mhm.
really liked it. But
Do you know
then
what kind of disc it came from?
it was PlayStation Underground, and
Underground. Okay.
yeah, and the demo was like this Great Wall of China level that was sweet. It was awesome, you know. But then we rented the game once, Tomb Raider 2, and yeah, like the first level, I think it was Venice. And yeah, you're in like
Was it
canals
Venice?
and you're on a boat, and and as a kid, I was like, this is fucking stupid, you know. And so then I was just like, oh, Tomb Raider, yeah, that game sucks, you know, my whole life.
Well, okay,
Uh
so that might be it might be Venice then, because the demo level, as far as I could get as a child playing this, was me getting on that boat, going, "Fuck, this is cool! Boating in video games? Are you kidding me? This is awesome!" And I thought Tomb Raider was like a boating game for like a good bit of time.
mhm.
So I was playing in this demo, and I realized you could really only go down this one canal, and once you got to the end of it, you could go it was intersected perpendicular, so you turn and then you have to go left or right. But it's like you're at the end of a T section, and there's not really much to go forward or left, so you kind of have to go left or right or right. So you just go down that way, and then the boat gets stuck because there's like a bridge, and I guess there's a switch somewhere in the level that you use to raise the bridge so you can take the boat underneath it and continue, but I never found it, and I was just having fun with boating in a
Yeah.
PS1 demo. Like, I don't know, man. I was amused by random shit in video games as a kid. I guess it's an ADHD thing, but fucking I thought it was a boating game because that's all I did.
Yeah.
That and the fact that there were no enemies in that demo encounter. Like there was no enemy encounters in there. You moved around as Laura for a little bit. You got to use her guns. Like you could pull out her guns and you could shoot and you could holster them and you could move around. You could jump, but you got in the boat and then that was the end of it. There was no enemies to shoot. There was nothing, and I couldn't find the switch, and that was the demo.
I gotta stop you for 1 second. Have you been calling her Laura this whole time?
Lara. Sorry. Yeah, well, I was done anyway. But yeah, Lara, I don't know how you say. I mean, she's British, right?
Yeah, Lara is a name. It's a different name.
So is Lara. I could say Lara.
It's like if your name is Jake, your name is not Jack. And it's not okay for people to say Jack and be like, it's the same thing.
Okay, so how do you say? Okay, I'm just going to use the excuse that I'm Southern.
Oh, okay. All right, that's acceptable. So my only other, I guess another thing to bring up, as just like a lukewarm point of my like review of Tomb Raider, is that I did think that the combat in the game was only okay. You know, it kind of felt like combat was only in the game because they felt like it needed a little bit more action and not just platforming and just puzzles. So like it's basically whenever you walk into a certain place, it's just, oh, there's a tiger, and you got to shoot it with your guns that have infinite ammo. And you just kind of jump around and shoot your guns at it, It's not super good combat, it's not super engaging. But
I feel like
whatever.
Has always been awkward as hell in Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't terrible, right? Like it was, it was just kind of like it felt like the weakest part of the game. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
It was just noticeably.
It's not like the focus of the game.
Yeah, and it's noticeably less polished or less intriguing than the rest of the game. At least I thought.
I feel like it's probably more combat is more of a means of solving a puzzle or creating or overcoming an obstacle rather than actually meant to be a combat.
Yeah. Like definitely, I mean, it does give you the idea that the place that you're in is dangerous,
Mm-hmm.
and that is something that they needed to do, they need you to feel like, that, yeah, so that's actually a good point that like, it really does have to be in the game because, you need to be threatened, in order to make the area that you're in more exciting.
And that's a good point too, because giving someone tank controls and then saying this is how you aim your guns, good luck, really does create like a hard wall of like skill, to say, hey, you could die right now to some easy shit.
Yeah, and on that note, I will say the combat was definitely not very difficult to do. Like Lara is pretty good with with like her aiming, like if something is to the she auto aims, right? She auto aims at a target, and like if it's to the right of you, she's got two pistols, right?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, just as an aside, the way that she shoots her pistols is ridiculous. She has she has one pistol in each hand, and she fires both of them simultaneously and in the same rhythm. Just blat, 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 both guns at the same time. It looks and sounds ridiculous. But anyway,
maybe she's a stickler for coordination. You never know.
But anyway, if there is something that's like off to the right side of you, she will just aim at it with her right hand only, if only her right arm can see it, and then if you turn towards it, then she gets both guns going. So yeah, the auto aim was like really good. And what's interesting about the blat, 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 two guns simultaneously thing is that if she is shooting at it with just one gun and then you turn enough to enable the second gun will start right away. And so they actually become off sync.
Oh.
So they were totally able to do blat, blat, blat with alternating or whatever. I don't know. I've never fired two guns before, so I couldn't necessarily tell you exactly how I do it, but I feel like
fired a gun before?
You know what? No, I've never fired a gun before.
Well, I will
Now that
say, I was thinking about it as you were saying it. So, having two pistols, if you had to aim down sights, you're okay. So, from a video game perspective, you immediately think it's a bad idea because your idea is, well, shit, that's going to be way worse for rate of fire because my recoil is going to be higher because the balance rate of firing is imbalanced. You have
I mean,
one big burst and then a big recovery time to aim again. Or you could do one over here and then that recovers and you're one over here, then that recovers and then one over here. But in real life, it doesn't work that way. You're going to be inaccurate as fuck if you fire two guns like that. And I mean, you're going to be accurate in general. Like, it depends on the caliber, obviously. But, like, thinking about it in real life, firing them both at the same time in one hand is probably going to actually net you maybe a little bit more accuracy, if not just from thinking about, you know, just the coordination of both fingers at the same time and accounting for the recoil with the same timing. But, I mean, most people have their dominant hand a little bit stronger, so I think it's going to be different no matter what. I don't know. I'm just getting into the weeds with it.
well, I mean, I think just the idea of firing two guns at the same time, like, well, not even necessarily like simultaneous, but like just the idea of having a handgun in each hand is just kind of ridiculous anyway.
I feel like you and I could
really think about it.
I feel like you and I could be behind a rock getting shot at by someone who is firing that way and just be like, whoa, hang on, wait. Are you firing like both at the same time? Why are you firing at the same time? Like the fact that bothers us so much, it just gets to me. I don't know.
I mean, well, ultimately, the point, I guess, is that, like, okay, if I were being shot at by another human, I would be more scared of the person with one gun than with the person with two guns in either hand. You know what I mean? Like, if someone's got a gun in both hands, I'm going to take my chances with their shitty accuracy than the one person who's able to two-handed line up a shot, you know?
Especially if they're trying to, like, you know, double Desert Eagle it.
Right.
Two gigantic fucking pieces of metal.
So anyway, Lara, though, she's pretty fucking good with the two guns. So at least
she has plot armor and plot accuracy. It's not a problem for her.
Yeah. But yeah, so basically, Tomb Raider overall was a game where, I mean, it's a killer game. It's really good. Like, you play as Lara. She's cool. You know, she's like a badass femme fatale type who is, you know, not taking shit from nobody, and she is on this adventure to get this treasure, right?
Oh yeah, sorry, no spoilers if you don't mind. I do kind of want to play it myself.
Oh yeah, right. I'm just saying, you know, she's on this adventure to do this thing, and so that becomes a game where it is about platforming through treacherous obstacles and treacherous terrain, shooting at dangerous things, be they tigers or bears or whatever, solving puzzles that were set up by these old civilizations, you know.
These ancient civilizations are so fucking good at making puzzles, dude.
You know, finding the keys to open the doors, you know, and like doing all the, you know, avoiding the traps, doing all this fun video game shit. It's just a great game, you know. And I really, really enjoyed it. I had a great time with it, and I would absolutely recommend it. I'd go so far as to say it might be a must play, you know? It was really, really excellent.
I was going to say earlier on, I looked this up on price charting. The OG PlayStation Tomb Raider complete in box is not even priced at $20. So that's fucking cool. I like that. 3, a little bit different. Oh, sorry, never mind. That's actually $12. I was looking at the collector's edition. Yeah, these are actually very affordable games if you want to own them physically. I was hoping to find a long box version or long box price, but I can't seem to find one. But I feel like this game, if there was a single long box game, I feel like I would want to own, it would be OG Tomb Raider, because even though I've never played the full game or beat it, it was one game that, like, to me encapsulates the, like, beginning of the PS1 era that I grew up in. So it was something I saw in every magazine that I bought. It was something like Like I grew up seeing triangle titties. Like it was a thing that every kid my age like was ingrained with when it came to gaming culture, and like that was a big part of it. And so like seeing Tomb Raider actually played out is cool. I didn't watch you beat it, thankfully. I tried to pay not enough attention to it where I feel like I could still enjoy it. But from the look of it, I was impressed by how the physics handled compared to the PS2 abomination we both played.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess that's about it. One funny thing about the playthrough was that I mentioned that like all of the story comes in like between levels, and it's all FMV, which was
Mm.
great. However, my disc isn't in the greatest condition that I got,
Oh
and the
no.
FMVs were very skippy.
Skippy, yep.
And so I spent the entire time with during the FMVs just worrying that it was going to freeze at any
Oh
moment.
no.
And so I didn't internalize any of it. At the end of the game, I have no clue what the
Oh
story
man,
was.
damn, that sucks.
I couldn't
See,
tell you a single character's name who isn't Lara.
oh
You
man,
know,
I honestly here. Okay, next time that happens, do what I recommend doing. Pause the game if you can. Once you know you get over, like you can skip the cutscene if you think it's going to be an issue or you think you might freeze the game. Once you save, of course, pause and just YouTube the cutscene because you can find like all these cutscenes. Like
yeah, I suppose.
just like it'll usually be like a single video that'll be like Tomb Raider 1, all cutscenes or all boss battles, all possible endings, that sort of thing, and then just kind of like timestamp your way through it as you need to.
Yeah.
It's a way that I've done a few things before too, and also like it's a great way to if you're like me and you play a game that you don't really want to beat 8 other times to see the other endings, just YouTube it. It's up there.
Well, on the bright side, my brother actually gave me a copy of Tomb Raider 2, and it is pristine. So I'm not worried that I'm gonna have the same issue with Tomb Raider 2. But
Nice.
yeah, the first game, I probably should actually just go YouTube all the cutscenes just for myself. But yeah, that's about what I have to say about Tomb Raider. It was great. You should play it.
Nice. I do want to. I gotta pick it up. I have been spending approximately 4 hours combined total with a game called S.T.A.L.K.E.R. Shadows of Chernobyl. I decided to play it because it's a game that, well, long story short, I'm a traveling technician for my daily job. I put a lot of miles in between my work, and I have a lot of time to listen to shit. So I listen to like a lot of YouTube and shit, alternate history, and a lot of that stuff, and a lot of like I'm interested in the atomic age and shit like that too. So the Fallout stuff is fun to learn through. But Stalker was something that I always heard was something amazing, and I never personally got into it myself. And I heard if you're into alternate history or any kind of realism, you should be into this game. It's like a cult game, like one of those like cult classic games where like a lot of people are into it, and a lot of people that are into it are a very small group. When I say a lot of people, but the people that are into it are super into it. So I decided to see what it's about, and I think I made the big mistake of trying to stream it first, which my mistake, my bad. First off, this is a game from what's it like around 2010. It's about a decade old, or actually 2008 it might be. It's older than I thought it was, or it's older than. It's not as old as I thought it was, but it is aged less well than other games.
Yeah,
like Counter-Strike.
It's from that window of time where PC ports were like very
Bad.
Yeah.
And actually, question: is this a PC port?
Well, I realized when I said the word port that this might not actually be a PC port.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it started as a PC game, but I think there might be a console version of it. I'm pretty sure there is a console version, maybe like for 360. or maybe just OG Xbox. I'm not sure. 2008. That's tough to time. That's the end of the Xbox and
Oh
beginning
yeah.
of the 360. So
I guess it was only on PC.
just
So yeah,
PC.
I don't mean I guess I don't mean PC ports. Hey, for the record, PC ports were very bad around this time.
Yeah, they were.
But
My
yeah,
God. Oh God. Don't even get me started on Wolfenstein New Order. Jesus.
yeah.
Anyway, yeah,
But
this
either way,
game.
the game was tough to get running, you're saying, right?
Yeah, I think you actually rated me. Thank you for that, by the way.
Yeah.
As soon as I started to try to play the game, and I think what preceded was like 45 minutes following of just figuring out why this game from 2008 was 99 100%ing a GTX 1660 Ti. Not a new card, but not an old card, and not nothing to shake a stick at, I would think.
Right.
But
A lot better than what was
available at the time. Yeah, like it's crazy. Anyway, I still haven't figured that out. One person suggested a mod package, which was Minin, I believe. Minin suggested a mod package, I want to say, and I installed that, and I'm sure that fixed a lot of in-game issues, but it didn't fix the performance issue at all. And it still has not. I've heard from a lot of different forum posts that you can just turn the grass density down, and so I did that, and it did cut it down by like 2%. Now it's at like 98% when I'm playing it. It's crazy. But the game looks fine, and it's running at 60 frames. It's just, why is the background... It feels like my utilization should be at like 20% tops. Anyway.
If a game is running at 60 FPS, but your GPU is pegged out,
yeah,
I'm not to like troubleshoot you in the middle of a live show, right? But what that immediately sounds like to me is that the game is actually running at like 400 frames per second.
And that's exactly what I thought, but it has a limit to VSync limits it to 60 frames anyway.
Okay.
So I was thinking that as well, but yeah, unfortunately that's not the issue. I still haven't figured it out yet, but the game is just not optimized, long story short. So I already had about all that, 45 minutes of troubleshooting just going on in my stream when I started to play it. And then when I actually just gave up and said, let's put it on potato mode, which, to be honest, low graphic settings in that game, not all that different from high. Like, the game looks like PUBG on like low. The game looks like Half-Life 2 on medium to high. That's about the graphics you should kind of expect to see. And also the same with like the facial animation and the talking. I was pretty impressed with that for the time. But to be fair, I think in that time, facial animation was like a thing to market your game with. Like, that was like a thing to show off graphics wise at the time. Anyway, I made the mistake of getting into the game with technical issues, and then I found out that the game is kind of more like a slow burn game. It was probably the first ever game that I've played with a wide array of accurate and well depicted real current submachine guns, assault rifles, pistols. Like, the physics are real. The ammunition, short of the whole like you waste ammunition when you reload a magazine that isn't fully spent, short of that, the actual combat and realism of the game is very impressive to me. Like, there is I'm going to go off on a tangent here, but I was trying to say it's a slow burn kind of game. Essentially, imagine the Elder Scrolls Morrowind with guns. That's kind of what I was getting at. It's got all these realistic guns, physics, and all this sort of thing, but like, it's not fast-paced Battlefield. It's not Call of Duty. It's not even Fallout, dude. Like, Fallout has a lot more going on at any given moment than I think this does. However, this game's mechanics and realism are kind of more passive. I think I was playing it for a solid hour earlier, and while the game doesn't follow a realistic, real-time clock during the day, it does follow an actual time and weather pattern like an open-world game would. Say, like, Morrowind has, like, weather patterns, or not Morrowind, but like Skyrim will have, like, weather patterns, Fallout 2, because I think they were kind of developed in the same technique. Anyway, the game feels real. After a little while of being out in the wild, I got a notification that I was hungry, but I didn't get a notification that I was hungry. I got a notification that I was hungry in green. And so that brings up how you can also, there's like a system of green, yellow, red for your notifications, like I guess intensity or I don't know what you'd call it, but you have a scale of your needs. So like if I get shot, I'm going to take damage. My health bar is going to go down, obviously. But most likely, I'm going to see a green drop of what you would assume is blood, because it's got like a little plus meter into the middle of it, indicating health. So I know now that I am going to keep bleeding until I apply a specific bandage to heal myself. I can't just eat food, like eat a piece of bread or eat a can of tuna, which, by the way, all have realistic models like an Elder Scrolls game would. Like, they go into your inventory, which, by the way, is kind of like the Resident Evil square grid inventory, you know, that you choose what takes up space and what takes up, what has weight, etc. I can eat food, but that won't stop the bleeding. Or I can fucking, I don't know. There's lots of different things. Like, there's radiation in the game, obviously, because you're dealing with a post-nuclear radiation incident in this game. So you have all these different kinds of ways for the game to tell you, hey, you're fucked up, and here's how to fix it. So I really appreciate that. I don't have a whole lot of insight into what the game is about yet, and I can't. I've heard with the story you can give away a whole lot, and it'll be a whole lot of spoilers. So I don't want to do that either. And I obviously, to be honest, I don't know too much of the story yet. But like, all of this stuff I'm describing to you now was off stream. I had to kind of be in the moment with this game. I had to take my time with it. I had to understand that, well, first of all, save scumming is 100% a thing. So I had to go to an area and assess, with my binoculars, by the way, that you have. You get little highlights of enemies or threats in there. You look around, okay, so this guy's here, this guy's here, this guy's here. Can he see me? Can he see me? If he can see me, then that guy's going to start shooting me the second I kill this guy with a headshot. Excuse me. And headshots are an instant kill in this game, so that's nice. But this game also has damn realistic aiming. Like, holy shit, dude! I cannot just like from 60 meters away hold my pistol up, iron sight you for about 10 straight minutes before I analyze your pattern of movement before you patrol around and then stand still and then just study. And then fire and then just get a shot off like a sniper at 60 meters. I can't do that. I can shoot that same shot, and actually showing that it's an old school mouse and keyboard game, not move the mouse at all. The recoil won't actually move. There's not like a recoil system that I can recall. There might be, and I'm just totally talking out my ass. But like, I can shoot, and I'm almost 100% certain my gun will, after a couple seconds, return to the same exact point that my mouse was aiming at. There's no way I'm going to get a headshot with 1 to 2 of those shots. I'm going to have to spend my entire magazine in that pistol before one of those shots even hopes to reach maybe even a body shot, a leg shot. Fucking, if it goes down instantly, it was a headshot. And that kind of brings me to my next point. You don't have like that classic like Call of Duty or Battlefield ticker to know when your shots have landed. You just kind of know when someone dies when they're not moving anymore.
Yeah.
And you can kind of hear their, like, the game has a good audio, like 3D audio environment, but spatially it's very static. You can very much tell an exact distance based off of how far away it sounds, and you can almost pinpoint based off of your stereo with your headphones exactly where it is once you center the sound. So it shows its age that way, but at the same time, thinking about games from this point in time, like Half-Life 2 mechanically, nowhere near this level of realism, man. This is like Arma 2 level, like Project Reality level intensity of graphics are not the point here. my traversing the environment, assessing risk, and navigating cover, and fucking the economy of my ammunition versus my health versus what kind of health kit do I have on me. There's a lot of decisions that get made in a small amount of time, and it's one of those games where the realism takes point in such where graphics are kind of just there for your point of reference in the environment to navigate.
So you mentioned that you didn't want to talk too much about story, but like,
Mhm.
what is I don't know if you've really even said what the setting is yet. Like,
Mhm.
what what starts you off in the game? Like,
Well,
who are you? What are you doing right away?
very much like an Elder Scrolls game, it starts off with no context of what's going on except for of what's immediately around you, and like in this game, you have no NPC to kind of go, hey, wake up, you are shaking, like Jube in Morrowind. You kind of just have to know to hit the P key to understand that P stands for PDA, and you'll pull out a PDA from 2008, and actually you'll read your journal, and you'll kind of go, oh, so it's one of those situations where you have amnesia, and you're kind of just like, oh, well, this guy found me in this area. I was just kind of woke up. I felt like I was comatose or some shit like that. And, well, to be quite honest, I'm in a really fucking rough area right now. And these guys seem to have the authority. So he's asked me to do this. And clearly they take interest in me because they haven't killed me yet. And apparently I might have some kind of immunity to one of the hazards of the environment here. So I've been tasked to go do this for this guy because he's the main trader of this outpost area, and now yada yada. So story-wise, there's really nothing there to start you off except for the idea that you're in Chernobyl. Well, Pripyat, I guess, the exclusion zone. And it's the year 2008. This doesn't take place in, like, what is it, 1986 when the Chernobyl plant disaster went through.
Right.
No, this actually happens, and I'm only gleaming this from the PDA. There's no the game hands you nothing. It actually says with the news reports, all that people know was there was an explosion in the Chernobyl area. And it is assumed that it came from within the sarcophagus, which I thought was badass because that immediately places you in a point of reference for time, which I guess you kind of have to know a little bit of history of about Chernobyl. But Chernobyl, after the plant blew up, they had to build a sarcophagus to house from all the radiation just kind of, exploding towards the sky and all of Europe therein. So they have a sarcophagus built, and it's assumed that the explosion took place within the sarcophagus. Like, oh, fuck, something happened in the plant. Maybe the fucking corium reached the groundwater and exploded from steam or some shit. Who knows? But then you see that it actually apparently happened about a half kilometer down the road from the Chernobyl plant. And so you're kind of just left to wonder what the fuck actually happened. And so there are apparently anomalies, like apparently they're gravitational anomalies. You can see them because light bends around them and they make noise, and you're kind of like I don't know if it's actually a Geiger counter, but like you have a little thing that kind of goes off and show like your screen contrast, your brightness will go up and your contrast will go up, and you'll start taking damage and you have to get away. So I don't know if it's radiation or whatever, but they call it a gravitational anomaly. There's different anomalies that like are painful to get near, but like you're supposed to, I don't even know what you're supposed to do. That's how far I am in the game. I know almost nothing. Nothing. It's just kind of like there's awful shit that happened after a second Chernobyl disaster, and you're left to deal with this area. And there's a couple factions in the game. Like there's one called oh man, I'm gonna fuck it up already. But there's bandits, and then there's another one called like I think it's called like the the word or the truth or something. I can't remember what it's called, but like
the F word.
The F word, yeah. I don't know. It's like a group that essentially their task is to come in and kill everything because everything is an irradiated mess, except it's not radiation. It's just there's some shit going on, and the Russian or I guess Ukrainian government at this point in time is trying to like contain what's going on. They're also after the artifacts that you can find, that these radioactive or anomalous artifacts that I just mentioned. Except like it's your PDA tells you that this faction is like these are the only factions that will not ever trade these artifacts outside of the exclusion zone because they're dangerous, they're hazardous materials, and they're government officials, so they want to contain and hide away. And yeah, there's just like there are bandit raids. There's you as a survivor. There's you as what's known as a stalker, and the stalkers are just this group of people, I guess, that I'm encamped with.
Do you fight like two-headed pigs and stuff sometimes, or is it all humans?
So Fallout, like those kind of crazy creatures aren't really a thing here. So like I mean they are, but they aren't. The first kind of creatures you encounter are blind dogs, and they look like they don't have fur. They're like kind of like, you know how ghouls are in the Fallout universe. Imagine those are dogs, but the dogs are blind, and your PDA tells you that the dogs actually evolved all their senses after going blind to be like, you know, to compensate, and apparently they out competed, out evolved the dogs with vision in the zone. So now all the dogs are actually blind. All the actual blind dogs packed together and out like competed the other dogs in the area. They're gigantic boars, so that's kind of a thing. The boars are huge, but they're just like boars, right? They're boars that have just like mutatedly large muscle. And yeah, aside from just like anomalies and bandits and shit, you're kind of just like left to your own devices in this not open world kind of game where you just figure out how to survive. Yeah, it's weird. I've gotten so very not far in the game. It's hard to talk about this early.
Yeah, and sorry if you already kind of went over this, but it's relatively non-linear, right? As in like,
well, you say that, and I kind of thought it was going to be non-linear. I thought it was going to be open world, like how you start at the south part of a map where your outpost is, and you just kind of go north, following a road or following a bridge or something. Maybe there's barbed wire fence, so you can't go over there. But like, there's big maps that you navigate and kind of have to tactically place yourself to have success in combat and not die. But like, it feels open, but when you get to the objective, you kind of do your thing, you loot the corpses, you get through, and then like maybe you'll get to an area, and where I guess a traditional game of this area would just kind of just stop everything, put you in a loading screen, and then, you know, progress you like a linear game would. This just asks you, would you like to go to the next level? And I didn't know what the fuck that meant. Like, no, I just want to go out this door to the house to go over there in that area of open world that I was just in, that I saw, that I navigated. I just want to go through there. Does this mean I want to level up my skill? Do I have a skill tree that I'm not aware of? Like, what's going on here? No, it's literally like, yes, I want to go to the next level. And then you kind of load into another open world kind of area. But you can go back if you want. Do you want to go to the previous level? And then, yeah, you'd go back there. So it's kind of like a open level that is linear kind of game. It's weird. I've never encountered it before.
Gotcha. So like, yeah. So definitely not something, you know, where it's just like a linear type of thing like Half-Life 2 or Crysis or something like that.
Yeah, not like that, because that was definitely like you just go through it, there's a loading screen, and you're in the next level. This is not that. This is like you go through it, and the game just kind of, I don't know, you want a loading screen? You can have one if you want, I guess.
Interesting. Well, cool. So do you see yourself playing more of it this week?
Yeah, probably, but like this seems one of those like really one of those off stream games, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe not. Maybe now that I know it's a much slower burn, I guess I just kind of needed to get my bearings straight first. I kind of just needed to. This is one of those games where okay, so when I streamed this, my experience was okay. I've just told you the story. The trader dude was like, okay, now basically you're my bitch. I own you. Go do this. So I go do this, and go do this means go find this wounded stalker. This wounded stalker. We had our buddies go over there to this area here to see if there's an abandoned encampment here, and they haven't reported back. I'm worried about them. Go check on them. So you go check on them. One of them is dead in the dirt after you kill the enemies around you. And it's not like this firefight just happened. You just kill some enemies and then you get to them. And the other one is what the game considers neutralized. This game, in addition to having like this game has two prone, or not prone, but this game has two crouches. It has crouch and low crouch to give you an idea. Oh, it also has the corner look sway kind of thing. So
I meant to ask about this earlier. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it has the advanced early 2000s first-person shooter mechanics that no one cares about actually in modern games. It has all those. So it doesn't have a prone stance, but it does have, like, for NPCs that are injured or neutralized, they're down, they're alive, but they're not going to get back up. So that's kind of like a cool transitory period where you can kind of be like, okay, what's this guy going to do if he's laying down and screaming? You know what I mean? Like, I can kill everyone, or I can put this guy down and let his buddies come near him, and then I can take them all out by flanking them with an SMG, you know? It's stuff like that. So in this case, it's a friendly NPC because it's another stalker. So you happen upon him, and he's like, help, I'm dying, etc. But, I'm dying, but in Ukrainian. And so here's how I happened upon this. I killed the enemy, and the enemy being like 2 or 3 NPCs in a firefight where I had very limited ammo, probably like 1 or 2 magazines, if even that, 1.5. So I was trying to place headshots, and that's when I found out that, man, the ammo is, or the aim is not consistent, which is nice because it's like very realistic. And just about at the rest of my ammo, took two out, took all my ammo, and I think I had to take a knife to the other guy. 2 face stabs, and he was down. I'm dying, literally bleeding, have the literally bleeding out status. I happen upon my quest objective, these 2 gentlemen, 1.5, and 0.5, I should say. And man, this is how it goes. Oh my God, I'm dying. Oh, hey guys, what's up? Oh, you guys don't look so good. Oh, hang on, what's this guy got? Oh my God, holy shit, a health pack. Thank fuck. I heal myself up. Oh God, assess the area. No more threats. Dear God, cool. Gonna go up to the other guy, talk to him. Oh, I'm dying. I need a health pack. And I go, oh wait, okay. He's like, no, I'm sorry, actually. Let me rephrase that. Need a health pack. My buddy over there should have one. I go, about that. So I'm sitting here with, a chat audience. Like, what do I do? Oh fuck, what do I do? I don't know what to do. He's bleeding, he's dying, he needs help. I used his only lifeline. And to be fair, the objective of the quest was, the objective was to go kill these guys, get this thing. However, these guys haven't reported back. That's kind of the vibe. So I'm of the idea that these guys are kind of like optional. I used the guy's health kit, and dude man's gonna bleed out, and I don't know what to do at this point. So he's literally crying out to me, and I'm like, I've got like a couple bullets. So I shoot the guy in the head, and like my chat's like, oh no, you have to go over here, just use this, use this. And then like They see me cap the dude in the head, like, oh, well, I guess that's a thing you can do. And I guess that's kind of the beauty of the game. I think if I didn't save scum it there, I actually think I could have gone on and the dialogue options would be different about that character who I decided to kill. Or even the stalkers I met later on might have been hostile, because there's actually a hostility kind of system in the game. Side note, another thing I like about this game a whole lot, you cannot approach anyone with a weapon drawn. If you approach with your weapon drawn, they immediately draw your weapon on them and they're pissed off at you, like immediately, even if they're friendly, which is cool. I like that a whole lot.
Right. Like if you're gonna do any kind of system like that, you can't half-ass it. Like I've seen games half-ass it where characters just kind of mention it. But it's like if you're walking up to someone with your gun pointed at them, they're gonna do more than just be like,
What's this? Yeah, gun drawn. 1,000%. Yeah, big fan. I'm gonna need a lot more time with it in order to actually see what's going on. And I've heard even Shadows of Chernobyl or whatever it's called, the game I'm playing, which is the first, is not even canonically where like the beginning of the timeline. So I think Clear Skies actually might be the first part of the story. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds really cool.
Yeah, we have someone in chat saying it sounds like old school Tarkov. No, this is like, well, I don't know if you meant old school Tarkov, like as in Tarkov in a first build, or if you just mean a Tarkov that is an old school game, which I guess would make a lot more sense. So yeah, I've not played Tarkov.
I think they said that specifically when you were describing the realisticness of the aiming mechanics.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've not tried Tarkov, but I've heard Tarkov is supposed to be stupid realistic too. So
gotcha.
Maybe something in that. Tarkov might have been inspired by S.T.A.L.K.E.R. even. Not sure.
Someone explained Tarkov to me once, and like when I asked about it, I was curious about it, but whatever answer it was, it went in one ear and went out the other. I do not remember at all what they described to me.
Well, you're generally not a big multiplayer person, are you?
Yeah, that might have been it. They might have said, it's this multiplayer game where, and I already quit listening.
Which still puzzles me to this day, because I know I keep saying because you'd be amazing at it, but literally the reason I think multiplayer games are just so amazing is because it makes the interaction so unpredictable. And you kind of have to study a person it's a person by person basis. And I love that ever changing, always having to be on your toes. Like you can't just with a speed run or something, there's just a set strat and you follow that and evolve and build upon it. It's just a thing you do. But like with each person's different, I can face one Ryu player in Street Fighter V that will, this is happening the other day. I could face 5 Ryus and 3 of them will play the same way and 2 of them will play completely different and fall for absolutely the dumbest shit possible, but the biggest brain shit I do will just be completely lost. Like they will just have an answer for every smart big brain idea I could do in combat, and like they could fall for the stupidest shit. So it's like, well, you can't just study Ryu. You have to study how Ryu gets used.
Yeah. Oh, I get the appeal. Like I watch a decent amount of like Smash Bros and stuff. I really enjoy watching it.
Smash Bros is just another thing though entirely.
Yeah, I know. That's the whole thing with fighting games, is that like I say, well, I like Smash Bros, and then I get told it's not the right one.
I mean, Smash Bros is entirely its own thing in my opinion. It's just that's I'm not saying it doesn't take skill. I'm just saying it's a whole different set of skills.
Right. I think I think it has the thing you're talking about in common though, where it's like you can fight 5 different people who are playing as the same character.
Yeah, for sure.
It's gonna be way different each time. Mm-hmm.
For sure. Yep. Well, that's all about I could say about S.T.A.L.K.E.R. I think.
Excellent.
I think pretty much the only thing else I've been playing lately is just more Vermintide. I've been getting a lot deeper into that and playing the classes a little bit deeper, which I think. No real update there, but my criticism initially of the skill tree system that I was talking about, how they're the same exact skill tree from character to character, like class to class within the same character. Because, one character will have like 4 classes. The skill trees are shared. and they don't change based off of like the role for that class. So you kind of just have to vaguely get something near to the role that you want to play, and it never quite really works. Like there's a warrior priest that I played, and I want just because I wanted a dedicated healer, and man, that class is literally just all about hitting shit and kind of just like your class kind of benefiting off of it if they're in the peripheral. There's just no like there's no exploration in the skill tree so far. But that was my criticism last time. I just wanted to expound upon that. But yeah, I haven't played too much other stuff other than that. And fighting games.
I've got a couple like little things I've been playing a little bit. Not ready to do a full talk about them yet, but so that you guys know, I've been playing more of Alundra on PS1. I will have a lot to say about that once I'm done with it, I'm sure. And then I just started Paper Mario for N64.
Nice,
so
dude.
I'll have some stuff to say about that as well.
I would love to talk about that because I didn't actually beat that, and I haven't played any other Paper Mario, but that is, man, I think that's also just another highlight for me when I talk about how for some reason I'm not a huge Mario fan, but every like weird offshoot kind of Mario game for me is just fantastic. Like fucking Paper Mario is fucking awesome.
Paper Mario is very good so far, and I'm sure I'll have more to say about it once I get further in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, for today, I'm totally cool with just a shorter episode since we already talked about our stuff.
Let's do it.
There is a little news update as far as streaming goes. I actually made Twitch partner.
You made partner
like a week ago.
Congrats,
or 2 weeks ago or something. Yeah. Pretty cool. It's been really good because I started streaming full time. A while back, and yeah, it's so far it's going great. Made partner, that's a huge milestone, and
yeah, man, you were getting that Final Fantasy VII speedrun shit down to a science. I was not surprised at all to see your viewership just explode from that.
I was definitely carried by the Final Fantasy VII community for sure. FF7 has been absolutely huge for the channel.
You also just like straight up will like bust out a game review like in the middle of your streams. Like you'll have like a 5-minute segment if someone redeems it where you just have an opinion about one of the very many games on your shelves behind you. So it's more than just Final Fantasy VII speedruns for sure.
Well, I appreciate that. And yeah, I mean that is definitely like they're I appreciate that. And yeah, well actually on that note, the best thing, I don't want to only be a speedrunner, right? Because we talk about all these other games that I play, and I love doing first playthroughs of games that I never got a chance to play through. And yeah, what's really nice is that even though there is definitely like a significant uptick in viewership for Final Fantasy VII, it does trickle down into the other stuff as well in a really good way.
What other stuff?
As in like non, just like Tomb Raider or Alundra or something, right? When I like just a year ago, right? A year ago, if I had 20 people in the stream, that was a great day for me, 20. Awesome, nowadays FF7 does great. That does great numbers, but if I'm just doing Alundra or Paper Mario now, I'm still seeing double or triple that,
Oh yeah, I see what you mean.
Just doing whatever, right?
You're saying you're still getting higher viewership on the things that aren't just I get you.
Exactly. Like FF7 definitely carried me and gave me this giant boost, right? And it's mostly thanks to that, but that doesn't mean that that's all I can do anymore, because everything else is growing as well, which is the most exciting part of it. Like I did a drum stream the other day. Drum streams used to be something where only like the closest regular viewers cared anything about, usually I would see like 5 people in for a drum stream, but even that, right? I did one the other day for the first time in a while, because that was the thing, is that I was kind of avoiding doing those for a while, because since I was specifically going for partnership, I wanted to, keep the average numbers up and kind of avoid doing too much of things that were just offshoot things,
Yeah.
you know, such as drumming. But yeah, I did a drum stream the other day, and that had like 30 people, right? So
Yeah, you get more eyeballs in general, so you know it's cool to see that you can see that you can bring more eyeballs to the other things that you want to do as well.
exactly. So yeah, that's just that's been exciting. But yeah, so
Yeah, man,
that's
I'm
that.
happy for you. It's awesome.
Pretty cool. All right, that's it. That's my news update. It happened.
Nice. Yeah, man. Other than on that stuff for me, you're at where I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to get to my own house here soon, so we're like hoping to find a place to where we can actually get settled in for once, and actually I can have a studio and set up all the fucking systems in one area. Have like, you know, the ability to just kind of sit down, put a disc or cartridge in, and press a fucking button and play a video game. How simple and amazing would that be?
Yep, absolutely.
I can't wait till I can do that. Yeah,
awesome.
It's gonna be dope when that happens. But yeah, man, I'm out for this week.
All right.
Good talking to everyone. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll see y'all on episode 35 next time.
Yeah, see ya.
Peace out, y'all.